Last night, Nebraska took down Northern Iowa to advance to 3-0 on the season, undefeated. But over the last couple hours, I have rewatched the game, slept on it, and come up with 5 things that we learned from Saturday's performance versus the Panthers. So really quick, we have a lot to talk about in today's video. Hey, if you're just happy about Nebraska being undefeated, I know I am. Hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post daily Nebraska football content, and I am not slowing down anytime soon. Nobody else on Husker YouTube does this, so please subscribe. You will not regret it. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over the 5 things that we learned from Nebraska beating Northern Iowa 34-3 last night. The first thing that was a major takeaway is something that we learned in previous games, but it just keeps building off of it. This receiver core not only is legit, but it is very deep. Jacory Barney shined once again, 3 catches for 29 yards, but he's a playmaker. Once again, he had a couple of plays that came back because of penalties, had one run for 10 yards for a touchdown. Again, he's just so elusive. Matt Rhule wants to get the ball in his hands no matter what. Isaiah Nader had 35 yards and a touchdown. Carter Nelson, true freshman, 4 catches for about 50 yards. This kid is incredible. And then Jalen Lloyd. In my opinion, Jalen Lloyd does not get enough snaps because whenever he does get on the field, he makes plays. First Colorado last week, he had a big play, big catch to get to the 1-yard line. This week, he had a big play for 60 yards. And then Matt Rhule proceeded to not play him the rest of the game. So again, I don't know what's going on in that situation. I'm just pointing out a fact, and the fact is that Jalen Lloyd, whenever he's on the field, he makes plays. So with that being said, this receiver core is very deep. Nebraska fans should be very excited about it going forward. And then again, I want Jamal Banks to play a little bit better. He only had 1 catch. Once again, I keep going back and forth. Is it because Jamal Banks doesn't fit the system as well as he should, or is it because he's underperforming? I think it's a little bit of both, but I want him to take over ball games because we forget how good he really is. And then Janiran Bonner as well. But this receiver room's deep. If these guys aren't doing too well, fine, these guys will perform just as good. Again, we have so many guys in that room who are top-tier talent. So love this receiver room. They played well last night. Number 2, the second thing we learned, Dylan Raiola is legit. I thought this was Raiola's best performance pound for pound that we've seen throughout the season. He was 17 for 23 from the field, threw for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. And here's an interesting stat I saw last night. He is the first true freshman quarterback to throw for over 70% on the field in his first 3 games since Marcus Mariota in 2012. That's elite company there. 2 Polynesian quarterbacks. So again, that really highlights what Dylan Raiola does well. He's so precise. He's so accurate. He's a technician, but he also doesn't throw balls in harm's way. So really thought Raiola was good. Yeah, he had a pick. I didn't think it was his fault. But again, really, really good performance by Raiola. That is something that is only going to get better throughout the season. And I truly believe Raiola is already one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I already believe he's top 20, top 15, and he will be an All-American true freshman, no question about it. Third thing we learned, the defense showed us last night that they, in fact, are human, right? So they're not a top 5 unit necessarily, at least not yet. They struggled a little bit last night. And here, I'll tell you one thing. We only gave up 3 points. That's fine. That's good. But we had some technical issues. And I told you guys this last night in my video and my post-game live stream that I knew we were going to win versus Northern Iowa. I wasn't really concerned about what the score is looking like. I was concerned about some technical issues. Okay, how would the penalties look? How would the tackling look? And we just didn't really fill all the boxes. And Matt Rhule talked about that in his post-game interview. So I know some fans will say, we can't be negative. We won 34-3. Matt Rhule's being negative. And it's not because he's pessimistic. It's because he wants to clean these things up. It's because he's focusing on the negative to make us a better team. Okay, and I said that so to say this, that I'm also going to try to focus on those negative things. So the defense was not perfect. Just like Matt Rhule said last night, we gave up 100 yards on the ground. We gave up 100 yards in the air. We need to clean up the tackling. We need to clean up the pass coverage. We need to clean up the pre-snap penalties. But with that being said, we still have a darn good defense. It's still top 20. And it should also be mentioned, we didn't have Jamari Butler last night. We didn't have Mekhi Bayer for the first half last night. We missed those guys. So we weren't fully healthy. But again, the defense, you'd expect them to play just a little bit better versus you and I. Again, not something I'm too worried about. I'm sure Matt Rhule's not worried about it either, but I know me and him feel the exact same way. We have things to clean up against Illinois. We will get to that and the importance of that ball game. Fourth thing that we learned, I think we need to have a conversation about a running back battle. Okay, and I love Dante Dowdle. And he played well once again last night. Okay, he ran for 55 yards on 6 carries. He was great. Almost 10 yards per opportunity. But Emmett Johnson, every single time he touched the football, he's trying to prove something. Same deal versus UTEP. Okay, look at Emmett Johnson's stat line versus Northern Iowa. 4 carries for 50 yards, averaging 12.5 per blip. And a touchdown. Not only that, but he had 3 catches for 43 yards. He led the team in all-purpose yards. So I just don't understand why we're so certain that Emmett Johnson is running back 3 at this point. Like, again, he's played well every time he got an opportunity. I just think Matt Rhule should put him in the rotation a little bit more going into next week. We'll see if it happens. Again, Dante Dowdle is that running back 1. I'm not debating it. But I truly believe Emmett Johnson can provide something to this offense because every time he's played well. Fifth thing, we got to clean up the penalties. Like I said earlier, again, we just have too many pre-snap penalties, offsides. We didn't have too many holdings. I don't think we had any holdings versus Northern Iowa. But again, those pre-snap defensive penalties, I think we had hit out of bounds as well. Got to clean that up because we play Illinois next week. That will be a ranked-on-ranked battle. Not sure necessarily what will be ranked just yet, what Illinois will be ranked, but it'll be a ranked-on-ranked battle. It'll be a big game at Memorial Stadium for the 400 sellout. We cannot let up. And we cannot have these same mistakes again because when you play against good teams like Illinois, when you play good teams like Iowa, Wisconsin, okay, you will be taken advantage of if you have penalties like this. So we got to clean it up. And I know Matt Rhule, he's made that a big focus. So I told you guys my offensive and defensive MVPs. Raiola on offense. On defense, I told you it was John Bullock. I'll throw out some extra ones, though. On defense, rewatching the game, I thought Tommy Hill, honestly, had a really good day. Some other guys in the secondary didn't play as well, but Tommy Hill, I mean, just a stud once again, like you'd expect. And I also thought Ty Robinson played pretty well. So those are my MVPs on defense besides him. On offense, I'd probably have to say EJ and Barney. Barney's just an athletic freak, and he plays well every single time he's on the field. So big win versus Northern Iowa. Again, we have stuff to clean up. That's what I'm going to try to preach to you guys. We have things to clean up. We are not a perfect team. And there's a lot of question marks around our team. How good are we really? Are we good enough to go to the Big Ten title game? Are we good enough to win 10 games? Or are we just good enough to win 7? I'm going to tell you this. We will have almost every single one of those answers by the end of Friday night versus Illinois. Because that's a big-time game. We got treated like such. And at the exact same time, we can't sit here and pencil in a victory versus Illinois because they're just as good as we are. And Illinois has a better win under the belt in Kansas. Kansas is not great, but they have a better win. That's a better win than Colorado. So, big game week. Let me know down below. Are you excited versus Illinois? Let me know what was your big takeaway versus Northern Iowa. And hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.